Alex Martins é hoje o diretor executivo da Equipa dos Orlando Magic. Filho de pais portugueses, Alex nasceu em Kearny, no Estado de New Jersey. Antes de chegar a este cargo diretivo, este luso-americano percorreu várias funções nesta instituição desportiva. Os Orlando Magic nasceram no ano de 1989 e Alex Martins fez parte da equipa que fundou este clube, exercendo o cargo de Relações Públicas. Apesar de ser formado em gestão, já tinha uma experiência neste tipo de atividade, pois quando estudava na Villanova University foi responsável pelas comunicações da equipa de basquetebol daquela universidade, no ano em que a Villanova foi campeã da NCAA. Depois de ser Relações Públicas dos Orlando Magic, trabalhou em várias instituições desportivas, como os New Orleans Hornets, também da NBA, ou a equipa de futebol americano Cleveland Browns. Findadas estas experiências, Alex Martins voltou para Orlando e liderou a construção do novo estádio dos Magic. Inaugurado em 2010, o Amway Center tem capacidade para 20 mil espectadores e já é uma marca da cidade de Orlando. Sejam bem-vindos a mais um America Connection. Hoje o nosso convidado é o CEO da equipa de basquetebol dos Orlando Magic. Alex, thank you very much for having us at this magnificent arena.
Well, thank you. Thank you for being here.
We had the All-Star game right here. How was the experience?
It was a great experience. You know, the basketball world was focused right here on Orlando, Florida, in our Amway Center. The game itself was broadcast to over 214 countries around the world. And it was just a great event for our community. Our fans really enjoyed having all the NBA All-Stars here, and it was a major economic development opportunity for our community. We expect when all the numbers are in that there will have been an economic impact on Orlando of over $100 million just over the course of that weekend. We had over 50,000 people from out of town visiting for the event. It was quite spectacular.
The president of the NBA, David Stern, said that Orlando and this arena was the perfect place for an All-Star game. And that's why you are thinking to bid for the 2016 All-Star game?
Yes. You know, when we designed this facility, we talked very closely with the NBA office about what they needed to put on the NBA All-Star Weekend. Because we felt that was the premier event of our league, and we wanted to make sure that we had the opportunity to host it several times. You know, we had everything else here in Orlando to be able to host All-Star Weekend. We have more hotel rooms than any other NBA city. We've got one of the greatest airports in the world. Our transportation system is great. We just didn't have a great arena, you know, to hold the All-Star festivities in. And now that we were building one, we wanted to make sure that it was prepared, you know, to host the NBA All-Star Weekend. And we wanted to come back several times. And the experience was so great. You know, the NBA felt it was one of the best weekends they had ever had. Our city really performed well. And so certainly we hope that we'll apply again for 2016, and hopefully we'll be able to get the All-Star Weekend here several times in the next couple of decades.
Yeah, the construction of this stadium was a long process. Yeah. It started in '99 and it was finally opened in 2010. Right. What happened?
Well, we started in 1999 talking, you know, to the city and to the community leaders about the need for a new facility. Not just for the Magic, but for our community, because so many of the events that come to these big arenas were passing us by because the facilities just would not accommodate them anymore. So they were going to Tampa, or they were going to Miami, but they weren't coming to Orlando anymore. The big concerts, the big family shows, the big basketball tournaments, etc. So we were talking and progressing pretty well at that time, but then 9/11 came. And then, of course, we all know that a lot of things stopped after 9/11. The economy was hit hard. You know, our tourism economy here was hit very significantly at that time.
So you stopped the construction,
so we basically,
the process?
well, we didn't stop construction because we hadn't started yet, but the discussions about how to finance the building and how to design the building, etc., stopped at that time. And then we really restarted them again in 2005. And it was really like starting from scratch almost as to how we would finance the building, how we would design it, how we would construct it. And we were approved in 2007.
The tourist tax that you have here in Orlando helped to finance this project, correct?
Yes, the tourist development tax played a very significant role in financing this project. The building itself cost $380 million to design and construct, and the tourist development tax was raised 1 penny. So it was 5% prior, it was raised to 6%, and the majority of the monies from the additional penny go towards paying part of the construction, about $250 million worth of the construction cost. Then the Magic put in about $65 million into the construction cost, and then the state put in about another $30 million to get us to the $380 million total for the building.
But later you gave the key for the city, the key of this stadium.
So the way we arranged the agreement is we would be the primary tenant. We would agree to continue to play here for 30 years. And then we negotiated a lot of the marketing elements of the building so that we could, as a team, sell to sponsors and the like. And then the city agreed to operate the facility. So they operate the building, and on a night-to-night basis, they're responsible for all the operations. For our games, we're responsible for the operations for our events. It's been a great partnership, and the city and the Magic, really built this facility together.
Yeah, in Portugal we organized the Euro Cup, as you know,
yes.
and many stadiums were built. The problem is that nowadays some stadiums don't have any or doesn't have any tenants whatsoever, and the question is how to turn a sports venue like this one in a profitable operation. Like, for instance, today we have the game of Orlando against Dallas, and tomorrow we have a totally different event, a music event with Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Right.
So how you do that?
Well, it's important first and foremost that you have a primary tenant, and the city would not have built this facility had the Magic not agreed to stay here for 30 years. So clearly that is a key component. And then, the operator must do a good job of promoting the facility and attracting a lot of events to the building. And this building's been very busy since it's opened. We've had virtually every major touring concert that has come through. And we've had a lot of shows that only play a small number of buildings, and so,
Because of the specific characteristics of this arena?
of the facility. And so when we constructed this facility, we wanted to make sure that the acoustics were the best in the industry, so that anybody that was touring, would want to play in this facility. And that was evidenced by the fact that Andrea Bocelli played here in February. And he played very few buildings around the country. I think he only played 10 or 12 buildings around the country. And
because of the acoustic?
Right, and the acoustics were so great in here that evening that it sounded like you were in a symphony hall. And so this building really can accommodate any type of event. Like you say, last night we had arena football. Tonight we have a Magic game. Tomorrow night we have the Red Hot Chili Peppers. So it really can accommodate any type of event.
The Orlando Magic wants to be a part of community, doesn't want to be just a club, just a team, but an institution for the city. I know, for example, that the staff of this team has volunteer every year many hours for charity organizations.
It's really important to us, that we give back to our community that's given us so much over the last 22 years that we've been here. Community is a big part of what we do, and we don't do it, because we have to do it. We do it because we want to do it. And last year alone, our employees donated over 7,000 volunteer hours to different organizations throughout Central Florida. That's one component. Another component is it's really important for us to raise dollars to give back to the community to help improve the lives, particularly of children. So our Orlando Magic Youth Foundation is now in its 18th year, and we've raised and distributed during that time over $17 million to local underprivileged children's organizations, to kids who are disadvantaged, or to kids who need an extra boost for programming, etc. It's just a small way of us saying thank you to our community who's done so much for us.
That helps to create a bond between the club, the team, and the city.
Our fans are incredibly important, and our community is incredibly important to us. This is our home. And, just like it's important for everybody else that our communities are safe and our communities have places for kids to play and learn, etc., it's important to us as well. And so we try to do as much as we possibly can every day, to improve, our community.
Yeah, you yourself, you have also a very close relationship with charity. You, for example, are involved. You are involved in organizations like the Florida Children's Hospital and also the Coalition for the Homeless. Is giving back something that you picked up from your Portuguese roots?
No, there's no doubt. My parents taught me growing up, that it's really important to give back. Especially when you have the means to be able to give back. So my Portuguese roots are a big part of that. It's a big part of me. I enjoy it. I feel it's part of my obligation, in the role that I have, as CEO of the Magic. And we also have a great example in our ownership group, in the DeVos family. The DeVos family are recognized as one of the most philanthropic families in the nation. And they've given back to their community in Grand Rapids, but they've also given back significantly to their community here in Central Florida. And on an annual basis, with all the contributions that they make, they contribute in excess of $5 million every year, to our Central Florida community. And they set a great example for us.
Mm-hmm. You are also involved in the construction of the new art center here in the downtown of Orlando. How is that experience?
Well, we've utilized the experience that we gained in building this building to help the Performing Arts Center. The Performing Arts Center just broke ground about 9-10 months ago now. So we've utilized the experience that we've had here in order to build that Performing Arts Center. The Performing Arts Center was approved at the same time that this arena was approved as part of an overall community venues plan. And we sorely needed a new performing arts center, here in Central Florida to be able to have all of the symphony and the ballet and the like. And I think that's going to be another great asset, for our downtown and for our entire Central Florida community.
So you are connected with all this development projects that are running here in Orlando?
Yeah, we've become very involved in the redevelopment of downtown Orlando. This was the first piece, and now the Performing Arts Center, and we're even looking into a commercial development as an organization right across the street from the Amway Center. That may be a mix of sports and entertainment type development, maybe an office building, maybe a hotel, maybe some retail. Again, continuing to try to redevelop our downtown.
So you are expanding the downtown of Orlando?
Yeah, every great city has a great downtown, in the center of its city. And for many years we had a great downtown here in downtown Orlando, and we needed redevelopment, and it started here with the Amway Center.
So it's growing.
It's growing, that's for sure.
We already saw NBA champions playing in Portugal, like Mario Welli. He was playing for Ovarense, and right now we have Tisha Penicheiro. She's playing at WNBA. My question is, when are we going to have a Portuguese player at the NBA?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, hopefully, the young players in Portugal continue to work on their game. Europe is a big proving ground, for the NBA, and certainly the NBA and some of its teams now go to Europe almost every year to play, games over there. And we actually were supposed to play in London this year, but because of the shortened NBA season, those games got canceled. So, hopefully, the young players in Portugal continue to work on their game, and I'm sure someday we're going to see a Portuguese basketball player in the NBA.
Yeah, in the recent past, we've seen NBA open up for foreigners. For instance, last season, the MVP of the finals was a German player, Dirk Nowitzki. Right. So you think that that NBA is opening also to European players overall?
We have more international players in the NBA today than ever before. And you know, it's now rare not to see an international player on an NBA roster because there's so many of them in the league. So the game has grown, you know, in Europe in particular. The game is growing significantly in China. We saw Yao Ming, and we're seeing some other players coming from China as well. So the NBA has become very, very international, and I think that goes back to, you know, when we started taking some of these games to Europe and to Japan and to China, and you know, the young kids seeing, you know, NBA players and saying, you know, I want to strive to be a player in the NBA as well, and now that's grown into, you know, the game spreading internationally and growing some more players, you know, for us to have play in the NBA.
And I know that you have, you know, the ambassador Alan Katz in Portugal, and I know also that you probably are going to Portugal to visit. Do you have any idea what are you going to do that?
Well, our mayor, Mayor Buddy Dyer, has a great relationship with Ambassador Katz, and as a matter of fact, you know, when he received the ambassadorship, we hosted a reception for him here with the mayor here in Orlando. And it's my understanding that our mayor is planning on doing a trip with a number of our local dignitaries to see the ambassador in Portugal, maybe sometime in the fall. And so we hope to participate in that. And you know, the mayor has said, you know, you're one of our only Portuguese, you know, locals here, executives, and we definitely want you to come with us so that you can show us all the sights and show us your home country. And I look forward to that.
What about Orlando Magic? Are we going to see Orlando Magic back in Portugal?
Well, you know, that always is coordinated by the NBA, and the NBA is always looking, you know, for international games for teams to play in. Of course, the facilities
in NBA.
It's centralized in the NBA. They're the ones that select the teams that go to London or you know, to Milan and to Tokyo and to Shanghai, etc. So it's centralized there, and I think they always look to find, you know, the great arena facilities around the world, you know, for those games to be played in, and they're always looking for more facilities. So I'm sure someday, you know, hopefully the NBA will get a couple of teams to come to Portugal to play.
The last time I was here, you were the president of Orlando Magic. Now you are the CEO. What are your new responsibilities?
Well, primarily my new responsibilities come on the basketball side. As president of the team, I primarily just oversaw the business side of our business, and now as CEO, I oversee both the business and the basketball side of our business. So Otis Smith, our general manager, reports to me, and so that's the biggest change. And so we've had to shift some of our time and focus over to the basketball side of our business while still paying attention to the business side. But that's been the biggest change.
Mm-hmm. The media consider you the key person in convincing Dwight Howard to stay with Orlando Magic. Can you tell us your secret?
Well, it was all about developing a relationship with him, you know, and having a dialogue with him about the reasons why we felt this was the best place for him to continue his career. We talked to him about the fact that you know, he could be associated with Orlando and build up the city of Orlando and this community, you know, for the rest of his career. And children all over the world could look to him for the fact that, you know, he's associated with the Magic and wins championships with the Magic. And so it was all about a dialogue, all about building a relationship, and that grew over time. And fortunately, he made the decision to stay.
And it is becoming almost like a flag of Orlando, correct?
Well, he said himself that he wants to help build this city up internationally so that it's renowned not just for championship basketball, but renowned as one of the greatest cities in the world. And you know, he wants to be a part of that, and so he certainly is the flag bearer for our city.
Can you explain us how a student of business and administration became a sports manager?
Well, it all started when I was a student at Villanova. You know, and I went to Villanova, and I was on a work-study program. When I went to the work-study office to look at what jobs were available, I saw one in the athletic department. So I worked in the athletic department, and I really enjoyed it during that time. During my time there, Villanova won the National Basketball Championship in 1985 with the big upset over Georgetown. And I really caught the fever, caught the bug at that time, and continued to stay in the business, and got my MBA, and just have built a career within the sports industry.
And then you end up here in Orlando. Your first position here was public relations, and you were the youngest public relations in the NBA. You were 25
Yes.
at that time. Was it overwhelming?
It wasn't overwhelming because everything here was new. It was the first year of the franchise. And so it was all new for everyone, for everybody in our community, and, for everybody on our staff. It was a great learning and growing experience. I was here for almost 10 years that first time around. I grew with the organization. I learned, the different aspects of the business in the organization before I left for Cleveland. And it was a great learning opportunity, great growing opportunity early on in my career.
So you went to Cleveland, but ultimately you end up again here.
Yeah, a couple of other stops. I went to New Orleans and worked with the Hornets there a little bit, and I came back to Orlando after I had married my wife, and I was working for the Tavistock group here before the Magic asked me to come back and oversee the business side of the business. So it's been a nice journey, and it's good to be back here. This is my home. This is where I grew up within the industry.
Yeah, and you also have a connection, a strong connection with UCF, the University of Central Florida.
Yes, that's where I got my MBA, and we've stayed connected with them over time. We've helped them to grow the DeVos Sports Management degree program, the master's degree program there. And we stay in strong connection with them, and we stay very involved with the university.
So that is an MBA that combines business and administration and sports management.
It's the first program of its kind where you really get two master's degrees, one in business administration and one in sports management. And the sports management degree focuses on business, unlike a lot of other sports management degrees around the country that focus maybe on physical training and those type of things. This focuses on the business aspects of sports.
And now you have already students that graduate working here in the U.S., but also in Europe, in the Premiership.
That's right. That's right. I think we've had about 6 or 8 graduating classes now, and they're spread out throughout the entire sports industry. We have some graduates that work full-time for us now, in our front office, who, during their time were interns and, grew up, with the organization as well. So it's great to see the stamp of that program being felt throughout the sports world, around the world.
This season, NBA started late because of the lockout. Can you explain us what is this? What was the lockout?
So the players have a collective bargaining agreement with the owners. It's one overall contract that decides, how the system is run, how much the players are paid, what the salary cap is that each team needs to work within, etc. Well, that agreement expired at the end of last season, and they had been negotiating a new agreement for quite some time. And on July 1st, when the agreement expired, they couldn't come to an agreement. So the owners locked the players out until we were able to come to an agreement. Fortunately, the agreement was reached before we would have had to have canceled the whole season. It was reached, just after Thanksgiving, and we were able to get the season started for Christmas Day. So we've had a very unique season. It's been very compressed. The schedule has been very compressed. We're only playing 66 games this year as opposed to the normal 82. But now we have a system in place where the players are fairly compensated and the teams have an opportunity, not to lose so much money. And I think it'll be a lot healthier for our entire NBA for the future.
So is this year the year of Orlando Magic? Are you finally going to be champions?
Well, we believe we're going to be champions. We think we have as good a chance as anyone. As we sit here today, we have the 5th best record in the NBA, the 3rd best record in the Eastern Conference. We've beaten, during the course of the season at one time or another, really all of the leading teams in the league, whether it be the Heat or the Bulls or the Lakers. So we know we can compete with all of them. And if we're playing at our best, if we're moving the basketball, if we're playing good defense, we believe we can play with anyone. So we think we have as good a shot as anybody to win the NBA championship this year.
Okay, so good luck and thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It's great to see you again.
E obrigado a si por ter acompanhado mais uma entrevista com um luso-americano. Sucesso!